All right, welcome back to episode 3 of the Race Hyper. Today we are going to be taking off the air block off kits, getting the rest of the bike torn down. We're going to be deleting the ABS but keeping the pump, so we're going to go ahead and get that blocked off, drain the rest of the brake fluid, get all the lines off there so when our new lines come in it'll be easy. One on the front, one on the rear. We won't have to tear none of the stuff down. So in this episode we're going to be focusing on deleting the ABS. We're going to be getting the power commander installed, air filter installed, and then the new exhaust installed for it. And it's going to be a fun episode. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
So first off, you can see the ABS pump in here. You have the 4 12mm bolts into the pump itself. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump on the back. Since the front is already bled, all the fluid is out of it, we're gonna jump on the back and go ahead and get all the brake fluid out of the bike. And then what we'll start doing is we'll start taking off all these hard lines and basically get all the brake lines off the bike. We are gonna keep the crossover in the front and just be replacing this top one that goes up to the master cylinder. And then we'll go ahead and jump on the secondary air valve system. It takes a lot of hosing and stuff off the pipe as well, but I don't really want to do anything like that until we get to the install process. So we're still in the disassembly process for a little bit. So we'll go ahead and get all this brake fluid drained out and get the ABS pump and everything off the bike. We're out here in the hot sun, so I do apologize if the video was cut short due to overheating of the camera. But we got everything off. All the hard lines are out, front and rear, all that garbage. Great for the street, really crappy for the track. So now what we're gonna do is now we can dive into taking off the AIS system, the secondary air system, and then we can start installing parts on this bad girl. So the AIS is deleted. You can see the plates are off. The stock plates are off the bike. And I'll tell you right now, this is kind of weird, and it's been an ongoing theme that I've noticed with Ducati, is that they have these little aluminum bolts that you use the correct Allen key and they strip. Even when it's all the way in there, they strip. So what I had to do is I had to use a hardened Torx bit after all 4 of them stripped. No BS, all 4 of them stripped. And I had to actually just hammer in the Torx bit a little bit, and then they were good to go. They came right off. They're not torqued so much, but it's weird that the aluminum is just so shallow that even when you use the correct Allen bit, they still strip. So now, finally, we can get to the install process. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off all the hoses that go to the secondary air system. I've already done the one in the back, and then we'll get our block off plates, and then we'll move on to the next install. All right, I know I promised that it was, we were done with the disassemble process, but I had to get the charcoal canister off all these hoses. Now we freed up a lot of room. And with the charcoal air box, all we have to do is just plug this hose that's gonna go up to the air box on the bottom side, which we'll just use one of those rubber caps to go over on the bottom of the air box. And then, as you can see, we got our block off plates installed. I don't know if you guys can really see that, but looking nice and good. So now what we're gonna do, while it's kind of you know, gently disassembled, now we're gonna install the power commander. So we're gonna pull the plugs off of the ECU and start to route everything and get it nice and good and zip tied where we want it before we go ahead and start buttoning up the air system and all that stuff back together. All right, so this is on the bottom side of the air box, and this is what those hoses go into with the secondary air valve. This is actually a pump, you know, like an air pump that pushes more air into the cylinder and the exhaust to keep it from running rich or lean, vice versa. It kind of works its way out. So with the kit, the plug that I showed you earlier, this one, we just simply put it in here. Oh, push all the way down, make sure it seats nice and proper, and that is plugged off. And now the other hose that I was just talking about is the one that goes to this. This is to the evap can. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna put a cap on top of that, put a little zip tie or safety wire around it, and then she'll be good to go. All right, guys, sorry the phone died, but we got the power commander on here, the neutral wire, which is the gray wire. We did the quick connect, just as they said in the instructions, to the orange with blue tracer wire. And if you haven't used one of these quick connects, it's pretty easy. You stick it, you take off the red part, you put this gray part around here. It's got kind of like a V that fits down into. Then you screw this red all the way down into the gray. Then you take this top part off, feed that wire through it, the neutral wire through it, and then you just screw it down into this quick connect. So that's all on there. And now we can actually take, sorry, trying to do this one-handed, but now we can actually take our OEM cover and put it back down in there. Like so. Factory, nice. So now we're gonna go ahead and get to the negative battery terminal here, and then we'll go ahead and screw that onto the negative battery terminal and get the rest of it connected and wired. Power commander mounted up, velcroed to the ECM. We have our map switch that is wired up. It's not plugged in yet because we're gonna mount it on the clutch perch, but everything's mounted up per the manual. Everything's zip tied and wired tidy. So now we can go ahead and swap out this air filter real quick. So if you have a Hypermotard, it is pretty simple. Once you have the air box off, you have just this little turnkey thing right here, and the other side is hollow. So you're just gonna pull that nut off, and then we'll go ahead and drop our Sprint filter in there. Bam, quick and easy. Out with the old, in with the new. One of the easiest air intake installs ever. So now what we're gonna do is the moment we've all been waiting for. Let's go ahead and get the exhaust and show you what we got so we can get ready to install it. Time for the SC project. You know, with these Ducatis, you gotta go Italiano with it. So this is our can, which we'll show you for last. And these are all our mid pipes. So let me go ahead and tear this out of the box. That's our crossover to the front. That looks like our Y pipe. And this is our rear flange pipe. And then of course, our goodies and hardware. It does look, okay, so it does look like we're gonna reuse the exhaust manifold gaskets and the well nuts. So if you're doing this project, I would go ahead and recommend now is the time for you to go ahead and just order some replacement gaskets and nuts for the front and rear cylinder. All right, so just an update. Sorry, I did a little bit off camera. I did have to go to the hardware store. I don't know if you can see in there, but if you look in there, we got all of the holes plugged and tapped with the brass fittings. So those are blocked off now on the ABS pump. I got the airbox all back together. You can see air filter reinstalled. I'm just buttoning this back up, kind of going over the wiring, making sure everything's good. You know, we were going to install the exhaust, but come to find out with the SC project, you reuse your rear manifold, and Herb has that in his truck. So I gotta have him bring it back over. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna go ahead and button this stuff up, and I'm gonna end the video here. I do apologize, guys. This is taking longer than expected, but the power commander is installed. The block off plates are installed. The new air filter is installed. So I'm gonna button up everything else I can and get ready to install the exhaust. In next video, we'll also do the radiator guard, and then I'll set up the power commander and put a base tune on this, so it'll be ready here in the next 48 hours to go to the dyno and get dyno tuned. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this build as much as we are doing it. Give it a thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notification, and we'll see you on the next one.